Okay, one, this is how you do it. Pan TheOrganizer.
No, Pan. This is how you do it. Juan, el organizador.
No.
Sí.
So that's right, guys. Welcome to another episode of Pan TheOrganizer. So today I'll be giving you 20 detailing tips, tricks, and even revealing some secrets that most detailing professionals don't want you to know, but I'll give them to you because I want you to bring up your detailing game to the next level. So without further ado, stay tuned. Let's go ahead and start the show. So hey guys, I'm Pan, welcome to the show. I hope you guys are having a great day. So let's dig right into it. And before we start with tip number one, if you want to continue to learn more about car detailing, so products, equipment, tips, tricks, and techniques, make sure that you hit the subscribe button that's found under this video. And that way you'll subscribe to my channel and never miss my future videos. And if you guys have some awesome detailing tips that you absolutely want to share with my audience, then go ahead and do so. Drop a comment in the comment section under this video. So tip number one, always use a dedicated wheel bucket and have dedicated wheel brushes. So you don't want cross-contamination with the buckets that you're using to clean your paintwork. So the wheels are usually the dirtiest parts of the vehicle, and we want to keep anything that we wash them with separate from the stuff that we clean the paint with. So tip number two, your car's clear coat, so that shiny part over your paint, is the protective layer of the paint, but it's as thin as a sheet of paper. And of course, well, although it's very durable, you have to make sure you protect it. So you're going to apply a wax, a paint sealant, or a ceramic coating, or your favorite form of protection to make sure that it goes through time without any problem. And of course, you want to protect your paintwork against the elements, so the sun's UV rays, of course, the salt and all that crap in the winter time, or even mud, dirt, and grease, and God knows what's on today's roads. So you want to protect your paintwork. Tip number three, always wear protective gear, especially gloves. So I use nitrile gloves when I'm detailing cars because you don't want all those chemicals to go through the pores, of course, of your skin and will get that into your system. And also if you have protective eyewear like glasses, if that's the case for some of the steps in the detailing, make sure you do that. And also masks. So if you're in a closed environment with poor ventilation, of course, all those chemicals can release some kickback fumes, which you don't want to breathe in. So wear protective gear. So tip number four, use straight lines when washing your vehicle. So use the way the wind blows over your car, and that should be the direction that you wash your paintwork with. So when you have your favorite microfiber wash mitt or whatever mitt you use, try to avoid circular motion, because those scratches and swirls that you do when you wash your car, because the majority of the scratches and swirl marks happen during the wash stages and during the drying stages. So if you have paint correction to do later on, it's much easier to correct straight lines than circles. So keep that in mind. Always wash your car using the straight line techniques. Tip number five, avoid working under direct sunlight and also work on cool surfaces. So either in the shade or in a garage if possible. If you have to work outside, try the earliest in the day or very late during the evening. So that way the sun is not at its brightest, because the majority of the chemicals that are used today are made to be used in room temperatures. So standard temperatures and humidity as well. So just keep that in mind. You'll have a higher performance. Things will have less of a tendency to evaporate quickly. And well, it's just going to be a much more enjoyable experience, and you're going to be able to control the quality of the work that you're doing better. Tip number six, always read the instructions on the labels, guys. I know a lot of you out there just buy a bottle of a product, you're super excited to go ahead and start using it, but there's a reason why manufacturers put instructions on the labels in the back, because every product can be different. So although you have a general knowledge of how a product might work, make sure you read the instructions, because sometimes there's some small details that can prevent a catastrophe from happening. And again, you're going to get a more pleasable or more enjoyable experience when detailing if you follow the brand's instructions. All right, tip number seven, it's a question I often get asked. So once you're done washing your vehicle and you finally rinse rinse it off, there's always a fine layer of rust on your brake rotors, and people often ask me, how do you remove that? Well, my tip is super simple. So when you're done rinsing the vehicle, while it's still wet, move up and down your driveway a few times while applying the brakes, and that way you're going to release that light layer of rust that's on the rotors, which is totally normal, by the way. So by doing that, you're going to release that light layer of rust, and that's pretty much it. Then you go ahead and you dry your vehicle and you're going to have beautiful rotors. So tip number 8, when you clean your glass, use the 2-towel method. So you're going to have your first towel, which is usually going to be a waffle weave type towel. You fill that up with your favorite glass cleaner that's ammonia free, so that way it's safe on tinted glass. And well, you go ahead and you do the first mow down. So that's going to be the initial cleaning of the window. And then you use your second towel, which is clean and dry, a microfiber towel, and you go ahead and buff off. This will remove any streaks and well, will also help to make your glass super shiny. So no streaks, and you're going to get perfect glass every time. And also don't forget, when you're done cleaning the glass, roll the window down just a bit, enough so you can pinch the top part and clean that as well. Top tip, it gives for a more professional finish. All right, so tip number 9, only clay a car if it actually needs it. So as you guys all know, a clay bar is a synthetic media that's a fine or a mild form of an abrasive, and that's made to be rubbed onto the car with a lubricant to remove any embedded contaminants that are in the clear coat. So this is of course, something that's an abrasive, which means it can mar the surface or lightly scratch it if you don't take care. So we only do this when you actually need it. So how do you know if your vehicle needs it? Well, there's the bag technique that you can use. Basically, take a Ziploc bag, put that over your hand, and run your fingers in especially the bottom parts or the rocker panels of the vehicle. And if you feel a gritty surface or a sand-like texture, that's when you know that it's time to clay the vehicle, and that's going to remove any of those embedded contaminants. Tip number 10. So once you're done with the clay stage, so you removed all those embedded contaminants, well, there's a high chance that you probably marred the paint a little bit because, again, a clay bar or clay media is a mild abrasive, so it's almost a guarantee that you're going to add some minor swirls or scratches into the paintwork. So we typically follow a clay stage with a paint polishing stage. Now, if your defects are very deep, so if you have deep swirls and scratches, you're going to first start with a compound and then move on to the polish stage. If your paint has only very minor swirls or scratches, you can skip the compound and go straight to the polish, which is your finishing or jeweling polish to make sure you have maximum gloss and your paint is defect free. Tip number 11. So when you're polishing the paint, or if you apply a paste wax that you're not sure if it's going to stain the plastic trim, that black trim on your vehicle, go ahead and apply some tape on the trim before you go ahead and do the polishing or waxing stages. So that's a trick. That way you won't have to fight to remove all that white gunk or residue that's going to stain the trim. Tip number 12, do not use dishwashing liquid to wash your vehicle. Now there's a reason for that. Dishwashing liquid has a very high degreasing capability, and if you use that to clean your vehicle, where you're going to start breaking down or stripping any protection that you added on it, such as a wax or a paint sealant, so you want to avoid that. Degreasers typically have a very high pH level, and that's something you do not want. Use a pH neutral dedicated car shampoo and thank me later. So tip number 13, wash your microfiber towels correctly. Now I have a dedicated microfiber washing tutorial on my channel, so go ahead and watch that. But essentially, you either want to wash in cold water or medium temperature water, never too hot, so never above 140 degrees Fahrenheit, because that temperature is the melting point of microfibers. Also, wash your microfiber towels separately from any other fabric, because they love to pick up lint, and if you mix with other fabrics, where you're going to be picking up all sorts of lint from those other fabrics. You can add a bit of vinegar, so half a cup to a cup of distilled white vinegar in the bleach port. Of course, when you're washing your towels, that's going to help release all that grease and make them fluffy again. And also always use a liquid detergent, never powder form, because it's going to be, of course, embedded into the fibers if you use a powder form detergent, and we don't want that. When drying your towels, you can let them air dry, so hang them out to dry, not outside, because you're going to be getting, of course, a lot of dust and debris from the exterior, which we don't want. And if you use your dryer, which is what I prefer, do not use high temperatures. High heat is the enemy, of course, of microfiber towels. So either use tumble dry or air fluff, whichever has the least amount of heat, and dry them that way. So step number 14, when vacuuming your carpets inside the vehicle, use a brush and brush in front of your vacuum's nozzle, and that way you're gonna help to lift all the debris that's embedded inside the fibers. You're gonna release them, and they're gonna be sucked up by the vacuum. Step number 15, use a degreaser or an APC to clean your tires before you go ahead and apply a tire dressing. So by removing the previous layer and prepping your tires correctly, well, the new tire dressing is going to bond a lot better to the rubber, will last longer, and will have less of a tendency to sling onto the body. So those are those black dots of product that's going to fling onto the car's paintwork when you're driving. That's usually either a poor tire dressing, an oil-based one, or poor preparation of the rubber. So again, degrease the tires before you go ahead and apply a new tire dressing. Step number 16, if you want to help to keep your wheels cleaner and make them much easier to wash when you do a maintenance wash, well, apply some form of a spray-on and rinse-off sealant, or a spray-on, rinse-off silica-based spray sealant. So again, there are many, of course, I reviewed many on my channel, but it's as easy as you're cleaning your wheel, you rinse it off while it's still wet, you spray that product on, you immediately rinse off with your pressure washer or your garden hose if you have enough water pressure in there, and well, that's going to apply and spread out the sealant all over. It's going to make it a lot slicker, and of course, a lot easier to wash during maintenance washes. So you don't have to go ahead and do that full wheels off service and go ahead and ceramic coat the entire thing. That needs specialized equipment and tools and a bit more experience. This is basically, the wheels are still on the vehicle. You go inside the rim barrel, a couple of sprays there, a couple of sprays on the face, spray on, rinse off, and that's it. Boom, you're done. So step number 17, how to really increase the gloss of your paintwork. Now that's a question I often get asked by my viewers. And guys, let me tell you, before you go ahead and just focus on the protection, so a wax, a paint sealant, or a ceramic coating, the true way to increase gloss on your paint is to polish the paintwork. Now again, I remind you that the top layer of your paint is typically the clear coat. That's that clear, transparent protection that's on top of your paint to protect it against the sun's UV damage and the elements. However, over time you get scratches and swirls, and that surface is not flat anymore, and there's going to be jagged edges from those scratches and swirls, so the light doesn't reflect as nicely anymore, and that's how you lose gloss. Now, to re-level that coating, you have to remove a little bit of the clear coat, and you do that through machine polishing. Now, you can polish by hand as well, but of course, it's a lot more labor, right? So a lot more strength needed and a lot more time. You can still do it and still get decent results, but I always recommend at least a dual action polisher. If their scratches are really deep and your swirl marks, again, are really deep as well, start with the compound stage. That's the more aggressive form. And then you finish or jewel the paint to bring it to a nice finish, restore the gloss, bring more pop and depth to the paint with a polish. Now, if your paint is only lightly oxidized and has only light swirls or scratches, you can skip the compound, but at least go ahead and polish the paint. So all that's going to do, of course, in the end, is make sure your paint is as flat as possible. So by being as true and flat, well, now the light will bounce off a lot better and it's going to be a lot glossier. Now, to bring it to the next stage, of course, and to protect the work that you've done, that's when you're going to apply your form of paint protection, either a wax, a sealant, or a ceramic coating. Step number 18, avoid automatic car washes. Guys, if you're watching my channel, there's a high chance that you love detailing, so go ahead and do all the steps yourself. Take the time to do it. A proper wash shouldn't be that long, 30 minutes to 45 minutes, and it'll be worth your time, believe me. The typical car washes use very heavy degreasers and high pH level chemicals that get sprayed onto your vehicle because think about it, automatic car washes, we do not want the ones with brushes, right? Because that would swirl and scratch the vehicle. And even if you go with the touchless car washes, well, they're spraying all that stuff. And because they can't agitate your paintwork physically, it has to be very strong as form as of a chemical to be sprayed on there to remove as much of dirt as possible. So that can hurt your clear coat over time, make your paint looking dull, and it can even strip existing layers of paint sealants or waxes. So that protective layer that you have on your vehicle, you did all that work, and well, it's almost gone if you go to automatic car washes. So stick to cleaning and washing your car yourself. Do it at home, enjoy the process, and you're going to feel a lot better. Step number 19, Clean your car from the top all the way down to the bottom, but first, what I like to do is start by cleaning your wheels and tires. So those are typically the dirtiest parts of your vehicle, so you want to get that done first, and that way when you're going to wash your paintwork, you're not going to wash your wheels afterwards and get all that gunk and extra dirt back onto the paint. So start with your wheels and tires and then move on to the paintwork, working top to bottom. So you're going to start with your roof and your hood and your trunk, of course those top portions, and then move to the side portions and work your way down. Always keep that lower half for the end, of course, because, well, that's where there's the most dirt that accumulates. Because think about it, when you're rolling, all of your tires are throwing all that gunk, grease and dirt and grime onto the paintwork, so that lower part keep for the end, and that way you're not going to contaminate the rest of your vehicle and you're going to reduce the chances of swirls and scratches. Tip number 20 is probably the most important tip. It's to go ahead and watch my tutorials and a bunch of videos. I currently have close to 500 videos on my channel, so pretty much everything from inside to the outside of the car is covered. You're going to learn the tips, the tricks, you're going to see product reviews, a bunch of tutorials, equipment review as well, so make sure you check those out. If you like this video, guys, show me your support, smash the thumbs up button. Also, if you haven't done so yet, take a second and click the subscribe button that's found under this video, and that way you'll subscribe to my channel and never miss my future videos. Follow me on my Instagram page as well. There's a bunch of cool and original content on there that doesn't always make it to my YouTube videos. And well, if you like this one and you want me to do another video as well, so a part 2 of the tips, tricks, and detailing secrets, let me know. Drop a comment in the comment section under the video. So guys, as I typically say, you guys know the drill by now, right? Keep it tight, keep it clean, and I'll see you on the next one.